What oil should you use in your dirt bike?
Which one am I gonna use? Ah!
You can ask 10 different people and get 10 different answers, or more. So how do you know which is right? Well, I'm going to give you an answer that I've been using for 20 plus years. I've bought and owned and maintained dozens of dirt bikes, and I've never had a problem doing it this way. So the number one first thing is, does your dirt bike have oil in it? This is a very common problem, whether it's due to lack of knowledge or just laziness. I always like to, I don't always, but I try and check my oil before every single ride. If I don't see oil on the dipstick or in the sight glass, then it's either low or empty. If the engine oil is low, then it's not getting enough lubrication and cooling to keep the engine running properly. So if there's not enough oil, your engine is more likely to get hot. So maybe there is oil in it. You can see it on the dipstick, but it's on the low end. And if there's not enough, it's not properly lubing and cooling down your engine. And on a 4-stroke, the engine oil on most dirt bikes is combined with the transmission and the engine. So that means the oil is going through the clutch, the transmission, and the top end. So when there's not enough oil and it's overheating, then it can take out almost all of the parts. Where in a 2-stroke, it's just the transmission oil, so you're not going to have a top end problem from running low on transmission oil. And then if there's enough, how dirty is it? Is it black and sludgy? Then it's way past time to change your oil. And when the oil breaks down, it turns black, dark, and sludgy, and it just doesn't have the same properties as new to keep the parts properly lubricated and cooled down. So this causes more friction and more heat, and the more heat your engine has, the more wear it will cause, and you're more likely to wear out parts quicker. So that's why you need to change your oil regularly. You don't need to change it every 5 hours if you're just doing casual riding. You can go 10 or maybe even 20 if you're checking it and it's still clean and it's still up at the level it should be. And lastly, what kind of oil should you use? Well, you should actually check your OEM service manual. What does that say? And the brand doesn't necessarily matter as much as long as it's motorcycle specific or meant for a wet clutch. So like car oils, they have properties that don't work quite as well with the clutch, and it can cause it to slip. But for like this dirt bike, I generally just use like a 10W40, something that works well with a wet clutch. So if I felt this slipping or not shifting well, I maybe try a different oil, or maybe it's just because it's dirty. So if you're using an oil that has the same weights and properties that your OEM service manual recommends, and it works, then keep using it. But if it doesn't, then it's okay to consider something else. But if you're just a casual rider, you don't need to be spending 20 bucks for a quart of oil. Those do perform better, and they help for racing applications, but for most people, just the more cheaper basic motorcycle engine oils work just fine, as long as you're keeping it full of oil and changing it regularly enough. And if you want to learn how to prevent catastrophic engine failures when you're out in the middle of nowhere so you don't get stranded, I want to give you a free gift. It's a simple 3-step guide that shows you how to prevent major engine failures. And these are just really common mistakes that people make, or they just forget to check. So you can grab that guide by going to motocrosshideout.com/prevent, or the link is in the description below. So, what about you? How often do you check your oil? Let me know in the comments below. This is Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more, so that you can stay safe and have fun.